Did you know you can file your North Dakota state taxes online absolutely free without the hassle of complex forms or expensive software? Stay tuned because in this explainer, we're going to walk through a step-by-step guide that's basically guaranteed to save you both time and money. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed during tax season or frustrated by those sneaky software fees right at the very end of your filing, well, you are definitely in the right place. Stick around. We're going to conquer this whole tax quest together so you can keep more of your hard-earned cash right where it belongs, in your pocket. I am so thrilled to be your guide today as we unpack exactly how to file your North Dakota state taxes online for free. We're going to completely demystify this whole process using official data and resources straight from the North Dakota Office of State Tax Commissioner. Believe it or not, it's actually way more straightforward than those massive tax software companies want you to think. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. Here's how we're going to do it. First, eligibility criteria, then preparation. Third, navigating the NDA tax website. Fourth, the filing process. Fifth, e-signatures. And finally, tracking and confirmation. So starting off with Section 1, eligibility criteria. Who actually qualifies for this free filing? Well, the North Dakota government actually teams up with commercial tax prep companies through what's called the Free File Alliance. But, and here's the catch, to get the free federal and state prep, you've got to match your specific financial profile to the right provider. Just look at the different eligibility thresholds for tax year 2025. What's really interesting here is Cash App taxes. They offer completely free preparation for literally all income levels, no age or military restrictions at all, though you do need a mobile device to use it. But then, look at providers like OLT.com and TaxAct. OLT is free if your adjusted gross income, your AGI, is $51,000 or less, or up to $89,000 if you're active military. TaxAct, on the other hand, requires you to be between 20 and 60 years old, also with an AGI up to $89,000. Honestly, picking the wrong one based on your AGI is just a fast track to getting hit with hidden fees. And here's another huge factor to consider, the complexity of your return. Let's say you have a moderately complex financial profile. Maybe you need to claim the state adoption credit or calculate multi-state tax allocations. Well, certain free software tiers just won't support those specific forms. Cash App taxes and TaxAct, for instance, have form restrictions that could literally force you into a paid upgrade right at the end. But OLT.com, they actually provide full technical compatibility for all individual schedules for free, assuming you meet those AGI limits we just talked about. It's an absolutely critical detail to keep in mind so you don't get stuck. All right, moving right along to Section 2, preparation, or as I like to call it, gathering your tools. Think of this step like outfitting yourself before a big hike. Gathering everything you need before you even open a web browser is the absolute secret to a stress-free filing experience. So, here's your rapid-fire checklist. First, you need to physically grab your official ID. We're talking Social Security cards or ITIN documents, plus a government-issued photo ID. Next up, gather those year-end income statements. That means your W-2s from work, any W-2G gambling logs if you had a lucky year, and your 1099 forms for things like interest, dividends, or retirement distributions. And finally, you absolutely must have your adjusted gross income, or AGI, from last year's tax return. Now, you might be wondering about that prior year AGI. What if you didn't even file last year? Well, here is an amazing, actionable tip. If you're a first-time filer over the age of 16, your default prior year AGI entry is literally just the number 0. Seriously. Entering a 0 will authorize and verify your electronic transmission, allowing your return to sail right through the security filters. On to Section 3, navigating the North Dakota tax website. Accessing the official portal correctly is so incredibly vital, mostly because falling into common navigation traps can accidentally end up costing you money, and we do not want that. So here is exactly how to avoid those traps. First off, do not go to the North Dakota Taxpayer Access Point, also known as NDTAP. That system is specifically for businesses and one-off payments, not for guided individual filing. Also, never go straight to a commercial software's webpage. If you do, you'll probably bypass the free promotions entirely. Instead, follow these exact steps. Go directly to tax.nd.gov/freefile. Once you're there, use the state's interactive filtering tool. You just answer a couple basic questions about your age and AGI, and the tool matches you with eligible companies. Finally, and this is key, you have to click the direct link provided right there on the state's portal to go to your chosen vendor. That is what locks in your free federal and state filing deal. And this brilliantly illustrates what to look for next. Once you click through, always look for that trusted IRS e-file logo just to ensure you're on a certified platform. State Tax Commissioner Brian Crushes actually prioritizes electronic filing because it is by far the most secure and accurate way to submit returns. It dramatically reduces processing errors compared to doing it all on paper. Okay, Section 4, the online filing process. Time for some guided software magic. So, now that you're securely logged into your perfectly matched software, we get into the actual filing process. And honestly, the beauty of these software engines is that they do all the heavy lifting for you. In North Dakota, individual filing basically comes down to two main forms. Form NDEZ is for folks with super straightforward profiles, meaning full-year residents with absolutely no income adjustments and no state-level tax credits. On the flip side, if your life involves itemized deductions, specific state tax credits, or income adjustments, you'll be using the standard Form ND1. But listen, don't stress about picking one. As you type in the data from your W-2s and 1099s, the software automatically works its magic and assigns the correct form entirely behind the scenes. Let's see how this all connects to the actual submission system. North Dakota uses this framework called the Federal/State Modernized E-File Program, or METH for short. Basically, when you're done reviewing everything, the software compiles all your data into one highly encrypted package. It shoots this off to the federal IRS first. Then, once the IRS gives your federal return the green light, the North Dakota state system automatically piggybacks right onto that transmission and retrieves your state return. Now, because of how that works, it creates a really important dependency. The state software literally pulls its data directly from your federal fields, so accuracy from the very beginning is absolutely paramount. I mean, if there's a typo that causes a rejection at the federal level, it automatically halts your state submission dead in its tracks. So please double-check all your entries, especially things like social security numbers and income figures. Which brings us to Section 5, Electronic Signature and Submission. If you're used to the old days of printing out massive stacks of paper and mailing them in, this part is going to feel fantastic. You literally don't even need a pen. In North Dakota, the Federal Personal Identification Number, or PIN, that you create right there in the software serves as your official, legally binding electronic signature. It completely eliminates the need for any paper forms and officially submits your whole shebang to the authorities in an instant. Finally, Section 6, Confirmation and Tracking. Let's talk about getting that refund. Once you hit submit, our journey hits its final phase. This is where you keep an eye on the system to make sure your well-earned refund makes it safely to your bank account. First off, you can easily track the status of your return using the Where's My Refund tool over at tax.nd.gov/refund. And a quick pro tip, to get your money as fast as humanly possible, always prioritize setting up direct deposit using your routing and account numbers while you're still in the software. Oh, and one quick troubleshooting note. North Dakota will send you an acknowledgement of acceptance or rejection. If you happen to get a data mismatch reject code, seriously, don't panic. Just hop back into the software, fix whichever data point is mismatched, and you can just retransmit the return right then and there. I want you to keep this number in mind, 30. Once the state accepts your return, the average processing time for a state refund is about 30 days. Though, like we just talked about, using direct deposit instead of waiting around for a physical paper check in the mail can very often speed that timeline up significantly. So just to do a quick recap here, filing online is secure, it catches your math errors for you, and it gets your money back to you way faster. Just remember the golden rules. Always start at tax.nd.gov/freefile so you lock in that free promotion, gather up your W-2s and IDs before you start, and just let the software guide you through it. If you found this explainer helpful, please share it with a friend or family member who absolutely hates paying those sneaky tax prep fees. Now, before we officially wrap up, I do need to share our required disclaimer. Please note, this explainer is intended for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial or legal advice. Tax laws can change, so always consult a professional for your specific situation. But honestly, mastering this process just gives you such incredible financial empowerment. Now that you know the secrets to avoiding those ridiculous software fees and navigating the system like a total pro, what are you going to do with the extra money you just saved? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy filing!